You'll often hear us talking about a healthy lifestyle, so I thought we'd talk a bit about what that means because it's a term that gets thrown around a bit. The concept of a healthy lifestyle can come across as vague. We think we know it when we see it, but we can't really pin it down to specific behaviours or ways of living. So in this short video, I'm going to define what we mean, discuss why we're even talking about it, and then briefly cover the specific components that go to making up a healthy lifestyle. So what even is a lifestyle? A dictionary definition here isn't important. We define it in terms of what it means for our metabolic patients. So it's a combination of what we eat and drink, how our time is spent both within and outside work, our habits, our behaviours, and our interactions with the surrounding world. And as of this point, I'm actually not going to use the term healthy lifestyle again. I'm going to use the term appropriate lifestyle pattern because there are lots of lifestyle patterns that are considered healthy. But not all of these patterns will be suitable for you as one of the patients at this clinic. The lifestyle pattern that we'll ask you to adopt long term, we consider healthy for you and potentially for many other people. It's a pattern that will help you get you out of your current health situation and keep you healthy for the long term. It may work for other adult members of the family who don't suffer maybe quite the same problems as you, or maybe are less seriously affected. So why are we even talking about a lifestyle pattern? I mean, it's a surgery clinic, right? I thought I was here to be assessed for bariatric surgery. Well, it is, and you are. But as you'll learn with us, there is a lot more to it. You may have got the impression from perhaps what you've heard from social media that bariatric surgery is a permanent cure for the disease of obesity. Unfortunately, it's not. Virtually all the patients I see suffering from overweight and obesity have lifelong disease, often based on their genetics. So when we do bariatric surgery, the body proceeds to slowly adapt, so the main power of surgery is going to be in the first couple of years. So it's one of those tools we have to help control the disease, but it's not a cure. It can help someone adapt to a metabolic appropriate lifestyle pattern and build the habits that can support that pattern. But if we can't help you do that, the effects of the surgery will slowly wane away and the weight will be regained and chronic diseases will return. 20 years of working in this space has had me witness many patients achieve long-term weight loss. But sadly, I've also seen many patients go back to where they started, sometimes even within 3 to 4 years. The importance of your long-term lifestyle pattern is the most critical thing that you will learn with us, far more important than technical details about surgery. There are more things about an appropriate lifestyle pattern than I can cover in one video, but I'm going to briefly talk about the important ones. You can find far more detailed information about each of these areas on our channel and obviously in person with our team when you are in clinic. Now, first up, because it's the most important, is your dietary pattern. This is the foods and the drinks that you consume over the long term. The underlying purpose of this dietary pattern is to bring down your body's own insulin levels. This is the key to allowing your body to slowly lose weight and the key to reversing chronic disease. In general, we're not interested in counting calories or restricting calories because, unlike what you've probably been taught, calories actually don't matter that much. It's mostly about what you're eating and drinking and not how much. Now, firstly, you should prioritize protein in your meals with every meal. Ideally animal proteins, but plant proteins also. So that means meat, it means fish, eggs, dairy, tofu, and many other sources. It should dominate every meal. Secondly, you don't need to fear natural fats, particularly the fats that come with protein. It doesn't matter if they're saturated or unsaturated. So fat that comes with meat, oily fish, full-fat dairy, and fruit fats such as coconut, avocado, and olive. Now, thirdly, and most critically, you need to restrict your carbohydrate intake, particularly refined carbohydrates and sugars. Carbs should only be about 20% of what you eat, or possibly less. So that means greatly reducing bread, rice, pasta, starchy vegetables, and largely avoiding ultra-processed foods. That means avoiding biscuits, cakes, muffins, cereals, and most things that come in a box or a bag and have nutrition labels and barcodes on them. Don't eat frequently and don't snack. So gaps of 6 to 12 hours between meals gives time for the insulin levels to fall and for insulin resistance to gradually reduce. Okay, next up is sleep. Getting adequate, good quality sleep is important. I know this is something that some people struggle with, sometimes despite really good efforts. Sleep affects our hormonal balance, which in turn affects our metabolism greatly. Just one bad night's sleep can make us temporarily insulin resistant, which means high insulin levels, which we're trying to avoid. And chronic sleeplessness causes hormonal stress, which is even more problematic. Thirdly, speaking of chronic stress, this is an important contributor to metabolic problems and obesity. We can't always avoid stress as part of life, but most of us will recognise there are some sources of stress that we can do something about. Why is stress bad? Well, it raises blood levels of stress hormones, in particular cortisol and adrenaline, and both of these hormones cause insulin resistance, and therefore they raise our insulin levels. They raise our blood sugars chronically and also can cause central obesity. Now, stress responses are important and necessary in short bursts. The metabolic problems that occur when stress becomes chronic. And fourthly and finally, I want to talk about exercise and activity. Exercise is good, but not for the reasons you may think. It's not useful for burning calories, and burning calories through exercise is a terrible way to lose weight that generally doesn't work. Exercise is an important part of your appropriate lifestyle pattern because it reduces insulin levels and insulin resistance. The most valuable exercises, if you're limited in time, are resistance exercises that are kind of working the muscles, more so than aerobic exercises such as walking and cycling. But if you can do both, that's even better. Building muscle gives metabolic protection and raises our resting metabolism. So I want to recap. There are 4 key areas to developing a lifelong metabolic appropriate lifestyle pattern. Adequate exercise, mainly focusing on resistance exercises, controlling hormonal stress, trying to achieve adequate sleep, and most importantly, following an insulin-lowering dietary pattern. These are the 4 keystone components. I encourage you to learn as much as you can about these components. Adopting and sustaining this lifestyle is a treatment. In fact, it's the most powerful treatment that we have, and the only one that tackles your problem at its source. Remember that without this, additional treatments such as bariatric surgery will not work in the long term. We look forward to seeing you in clinic to talk more about these components.